Monkey wakes up exhausted, opens the phone, and feels the brain fog traps naps shut with terrifying speed. Familiar paralysis of a day where the brain refuses to cooperate hits Monkey hard before the morning is even truly begun. Scrolling turns into a foggy void where motivation evaporates instantly, leaving Monkey staring at a blank, hopeless screen, while everything feels heavier than it should be. Say strange 10-second trick exists to reset the dopamine system instantly and pull Monkey out of the deep slump without relying on willpower. This trick can be done anywhere, at home, at work, or even sitting in the car with the engine running to snap the mind back into focus. Monkey must stay to uncover the most powerful technique coming next that will dismantle this invisible mental trap forever. The last technique Monkey is about to learn is the most powerful one available for resetting focus immediately by manipulating brain chemistry directly. By the end of this video, this specific method works by shifting the environment rather than relying on willpower alone for success. Monkey needs to stick around, because the final reveal changes everything about how the brain handles stress and boredom permanently. The upcoming explanation shows why standard advice fails, and how a simple environmental shift creates instant clarity instead of confusion for everyone. Stop scrolling and listen closely, because the secret to fixing life isn't a new habit, it is a forgotten battery. A morning where Monkey wakes up with heavy limbs even though 8 hours of sleep just passed. The room is still and peaceful, yet Monkey feels a strange weight pressing down on the chest like a stone. This happens to most people who think they are broken, simply lacking willpower to get up. So let us talk about something most folks never realize about their own mental machinery running in the background. Picture the brain like a rechargeable battery sitting in a dark, humid jungle waiting for a charge. Every time Monkey checks the phone, the little icon flickers and loses a tiny sliver of power instantly. Every time one scrolls through endless feeds of cats and news, the same drain happens again and again without rest. Every time one chases that quick hit of stimulation from a like or a comment, the battery loses another crucial percentage of its total life. And over time, the brain builds up a strange kind of tolerance to this constant draining that nobody sees, meaning more stimulation is needed just to feel normal and awake without crashing. That is exactly why Monkey feels tired even though one slept for a long time last night and still feels groggy. Why Monkey feels unmotivated even when wants to get things done right now, but cannot start. And why everything feels boring unless it is fast, loud, exciting, or instantly rewarding with a big pop. Monkey looks at a slow book and finds it dull compared to a fast video with flashing lights. Monkey looks at a quiet conversation and finds it boring compared to a loud notification buzzing in the pocket. But here is the good news. It changes everything one thought one knew about laziness and failure. Monkey can reset the dopamine baseline in seconds, not hours. Not days of waiting around. This is not about grinding harder or trying harder to push through the fog of confusion. It is about understanding that the biology has been tricked by modern environments designed to drain Monkey. Once this simple reset is done, the brain suddenly feels clearer and lighter again without effort. Fog lifts from the mind, just like clouds parting over a green canopy in the morning sun. One will realize that the problem was never Monkey's character or effort level at all. Monkey feels the familiar slide into low energy mode, the brain fog creeping in like thick jungle humidity, ready to drop into autopilot. It is simply the dopamine system running on empty batteries. Monkey needs a quick biological reset to wake up the inner engine before the day turns into a gray blur. Now let us jump into the 10-second dopamine reset habits that act as personal survival gear as mental slumps. Monkey remembers that the last tool in this arsenal is a true game changer for shifting mood instantly. Habit number 1 is the 10-second cold shock reset, which works surprisingly well even for the laziest of apes. Here is exactly what Monkey does to trigger the immediate change in neural activity. Monkey takes both hands and places them directly under cold running water from the tap. While the water hits the skin, Monkey breathes deeply for exactly 10 seconds to calm the pack response. That is all the action required to start the powerful biological signal inside the skull. Why does this simple trick work so effectively for clearing away the mental dust? Because cold activates the diving reflex, which sends a strong signal to the brain that something new. In just 10 seconds, the brain shifts out of autopilot mode and into sharp focus mode instantly. If Monkey ever feels tired, lazy, or mentally unfocused during a long work session, this one habit will jolt the brain back online. But the next habit is even stronger than the cold water shot for breaking visual fatigue loops. Habit number 2 is the 10-second hard blink reset, which sounds silly, but works like magic on tired eyes. Monkey closes the eyes and squeezes them shut tightly for 10 seconds before opening them wide again. This action instantly resets something called the visual dopamine loop. It gets stuck when staring at glowing screens. When Monkey stares at monitors for too long, by combining these 3 simple steps, the cold water shocks the hands, the tight squeeze resets the eyes, and the breath pattern calms the nerves. Monkey no longer fights against the natural energy dips, but instead uses biology to ride the wave of focus. The brain is not broken. It is just running on the wrong settings for modern life. With these tools in the kit, Monkey can walk through the jungle with clarity and purpose again. The system works because it respects the chemistry of the body rather than ignoring it with empty promises. Every time Monkey uses these resets, the brain learns that focus is accessible again without struggle. The path forward is clear, and the tools are already in the hand of the user. Monkey sits frozen in the chair, staring at the glowing screen, forcing a complete stop against the familiar urge to scroll again. Fingers twitch like a trapped animal caught in a web, desperate to move. While the mind demands a moment of peace, Monkey attempts to shift weight, but locks their body into total stillness for exactly 10 seconds, ignoring the urgent urge to fidget. The internal noise spikes like a startled animal before abruptly dropping into quiet, creating a strange silence in the noisy room. Monkey realizes the brain was screaming from overstimulated nala, not from a lack of willpower or a broken personality. Silence allows the dopamine baseline to snap back to a healthy level, just like a reset button on a glitchy machine. Feeling is confusing mixed with relief as Monkey realizes the chaos in their head can be silenced instantly without any new motivation. Feels like a jungle monkey trapped in a cage of noise, suddenly freezing mid-scream to hear the wind blow through the trees. The visual metaphor is clear because the brain stops drowning in information and starts listening to its own quiet hum. Monkey stands up feeling lighter, ready to tackle the next task without the usual fog clouding their vision. This tiny pause breaks the overstimulation cycle that keeps the mind spinning in endless circles of distraction. The dopamine baseline resets faster when the system stops demanding constant input and starts demanding brief periods of rest. Monkey learns that stillness is not laziness, but a powerful tool for regaining control over the nervous system. The 10-second rule is the weirdest one yet, but wow, does it work. When applied with absolute consistency, every time Monkey pauses, the brain gets a rare moment of silence that clears out the mental clutter. This simple shift transforms the entire day by preventing the slow drain of energy that happens during continuous focus. Monkey understands now that the brain needs space to breathe, not more tasks to complete in a single hour. Physical sensation of the brain freaking out is replaced by a calm wave that spreads through the whole body. The jungle never stops moving, yet Monkey can choose to pause right now. Imagine Monkey sitting frozen in a chair while the screen glows with a heavy, humid fog that slowly dims the vision. The slide into low energy mode is not a character flaw, but simply a dopamine loop demanding a physical interrupt. Monkey does not need a grand motivation speech to break free from this mental trap. First two is a cold shock to the skin, a sudden splash of water that forces the nervous system to snap back to alertness immediately. Follow that with a hard blink, a sharp visual reset that clears the blurry edges of the thought process like wiping dust from a lens. Next comes a deep breath that pulls the stale air out of the lungs and fills them with oxygen to restart the engine. Stillness acts as the anchor, a moment of silence where the brain stops chasing distractions and finds its center again. These 5 tiny habits take only 10 seconds each to rebuild the clarity lost to the noise of the day. Motivation is not a feeling that arrives like a gift, but a system Monkey can reconstruct instantly with these specific actions. When Monkey uses these tools, the brain comes back online with fresh energy and a clear path forward. The fog lifts not because life changed, but because Monkey changed the state of their own biology in seconds. This is the secret reset button hidden in plain sight within the most ordinary moments of a busy schedule. Remember that the next time the weight feels too heavy to carry, once the reset happens, the energy returns and the focus sharpens like a honed claw, ready for work. Monkey does not need to wait for a break, just a few seconds to recalibrate the internal machinery. The link in the description connects Monkey to the Monkey Squad for more tools to maintain this balance in the wild. Supporting the channel helps the whole troop understand these systems better and grow together in the jungle. Like and subscribe to join the conversation and keep building a community grounded in science and psychology.